We're live, by the way.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I just hit the button.
All right, good stuff.
Welcome, guys. Just a casual generals meeting. Got a few other people coming in.
It's just a casual generals.
I'm getting feedback somewhere. Was that coming off your end?
Yeah, I went on mute. Yeah.
You got the extra one.
Yep.
Yeah, people are always asking about like the other channel. So if you're part of my entrepreneurs course, the School of Entrepreneurship, I'm going to explain why you're seeing other channels pop up. I'm in control of most of them, and
because I thought the same thing. I was like, "What's the deal with it?"
Yeah, like I'll explain why in the course for the people that are looking to build an audience. I'm not going to take up time on it over here, but if somebody's using my content, it always gets a copyright hit, and I get rid of it. So if you see something that's in existence, I mean, bring it to my attention, but it's probably mine.
Yeah.
I've also got a Spanish channel now too. I got a guy trying to do like the translations because I got my book translated into Spanish. I just have to do the final touches and upload it to Amazon and get the Audible reading done.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So what's going on, man? I got like an hour to hang out and chop it up. I thought we'd do like we used to do these on my main channel, the first Monday of the month, but I think it's better to keep it over here on the new one and keep the flow more open.
Yeah, totally fine. Yeah, like things are going well. It's funny. I had one of my, well, I'll say one of my, like I had a lady friend over last night and this morning, and she knows about the group. She knows about you. She knows about a lot of the stuff. And we were just kind of going down memory lane and watched the first episode that I appeared on with you. I call the one that I appeared on, the first episode, was the one with you and Aaron Clare, even though I was on with you the week before, but I didn't really get into things much with you. Mm-hmm. And so it was just kind of funny to see that. And yeah, I mean, that was probably what, 18, not even, probably 14 months ago, probably. Mm-hmm. Right after my 29th birthday. So it's certainly come a long way. It's been a hell of a ride since.
What's that ride been like? Like why don't you explain it? Because I mean, like you came across my stuff, then you see this random bald guy with a beard in a channel. You call in, and I got some questions.
Yeah,
I'm angry little man from South Dakota that's like yelling at people all the time, right? That writes books that nobody buys.
Yeah, right.
But I mean, like you've come a long way since then. So what's that been like? Because you've had to come to grips with family, with women, with
everything, man.
I mean, even like the state that you live in, I think has changed for you now too, or has changed.
Yeah, I'm in DC now for a very short period, but I'm moving to Florida in less than a month. So it's been a.
Are you still with Bert?
Yeah, as of right now, yeah, he's in and out. He's away right now. He's not in town. He's with the kids out at the beach. But yeah, it's been I mean that's a great segue into another point that maybe I can bring up, but. It's been a hell of a ride. It's been, a lot of people probably don't know my story out there. So
tell them, man, we got some time.
Yeah. So I had, the reason I found you in the first place, it looks like, Brian is trying to find the stream link, by the way. So if you want to drop it to him.
He doesn't know how to scroll up or what? Like he's making omelets, but he can't scroll up.
He's on Facebook, which he's not using Signal. I don't know why. Yeah. Green eggs and ham. Right.
Go to Signal, retard.
So yeah. I remember that when I first found your stuff, it was out of an earnest attempt to try to like fix and save the relationship that I was in. And it was specifically around like there's no clinical term as far as I know for daddy issues. So it's kind of like a jokey term. But it's still real. Like it's every bit as real as anything else. And like my ex-girl had a lot of problems with her biological father. I think he legally disowned her in her teens, still hung around and was.
Can you say why, or is that like too?
I don't think I even really know. Like that's how crazy it was. She wouldn't talk about it. I remember when we would have conversations, she's like, as long as I live and as long as we're together, regardless, it doesn't matter if we're together forever, you're never allowed to have an opinion about this.
Really?
She's like, oh yeah. She said that to me verbatim. She's like, you're never allowed to discuss it with me. You're never allowed to say anything about it. Like you need to full on, like you just need to shut up about it. Like you can't ask me anything.
Let me just share like a quick story that,
Please.
that has total relevance to what you're talking about there, because I've only dealt with that, I think, once in any like significant capacity in my life, which was my single mommy, like one-itis back in the day. After I got divorced, I was with that chick for like 3 years, and it was a very similar type of situation. She had zero relationship with her father. In fact, she hadn't talked to him in like 20 years, and even changed her surname to her mother's surname. So
Didn't
so
quite go that far, but it was very similar. Like she hadn't spoken to him in forever. He would text her every
yeah.
year for her birthday. She wouldn't answer. Like he didn't come to her college graduation. Like none of that shit.
Yeah, that's a big red flag if you as a woman can't have a good relationship with your father, in my view. And it was just like I didn't see the relevance at the time because I was a plugged in, blue pilled alpha sort of thing. Like this was almost 10 years ago. Yeah, because it's coming up on 2012, 2013 or so. And I just didn't see the relevance. I was just like, oh, well, that sucks. I remember like one time I said something along the lines of like, what would you do if he drove all the way here? Because he lives something like 4 or 5 hours away. I said, what would you do if he drove all the way here and knocked on your door right now and you went and answered it and he was there? And she didn't really have like much to say except for like her face just dropped. Just like you just get these like weird vibes and shit. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Anyway, I didn't want to hijack your story, but yeah.
No, but I mean, it's a great point, and I didn't know.
50 Shades, what's up? Welcome. Sorry.
Hey, man. All right, he's in the kitchen.
You still cooking?
Apparently. I hear clanking of utensils.
Fuck you guys. Hey.
I'm talking about mother talking. Don't talk to me about phone. All right.
I'm eating New York strip steak, having eggs. We're up at 9 o'clock. Well, no, one of the things I've noticed since I joined the 1% is a lot of the guys who are successful and on their game are up early on the weekends.
Yeah.
Just an observation.
Every day at around 7 for me, man.
I'm up at 5, usually 6 the latest.
That's just the way my sleep schedule works, my body works. So it's like it doesn't matter if I go to bed at 10, doesn't matter if I go to bed at 2, I'm up at 7. So it's smart to.
No, but my point, Moff, is a lot of blue pill plugged in guys were out till 2 a.m. last night spending $300 on alcohol, eating crap food, and now they're in bed. I'm not saying it doesn't happen to us every now and then, but as I've mentioned a bunch of times, that's what a lot of people are told a good time is.
Totally.
All right, Muff, finish the story on the.
So I mean, what happened was it's like, look, my desire to help is how do I help fix this? It's how do I be the fixer? How do I save a girl with daddy issues? How do I be a good quote unquote partner and this and that? And I was watching a lot of YouTube at the time. I was working from home and I was working like, I was dicking around mostly because I didn't like my job and my industry was highly affected by the scamdemic. So I had a lot of free time. And so the video I came across was 3 women to avoid dating. And the number one was daddy issues. And every word was like speaking the gospel, man. It was like, this makes so much sense. It's like everything that I had tried to do up to that point, it didn't matter how virtuous I was. It didn't matter how I tried to lead or how good of a guy I was. She was incapable of appreciating it, respecting it, and desiring it because she had never had a good example growing up of that in a man. She was raised in a household by her mom who was a constant player of victim. She saw firsthand that this guy, and look, as far as I can tell, and as far as I only go about what she told me, but as far as I can tell, this guy was a real piece of shit. It was a real asshole. I don't know any different. That's her story, and I don't know the flip side. But it could have very well been true, but she was also in therapy, but it was the kind of therapy where it was like, I'm going to come and cry once a week and not ever do anything with the advice or help that I was to get. So it was just this toxic spiral. And then I kind of realized that this was unsalvageable. And then I started diving in, man. I started watching old stuff. I started reading. I think I read The Rational Male first because your book wasn't out yet. This was like in the fall of 2020. Mm-hmm. I think I actually bought the Unplugged Alpha on Christmas Day, which is just kind of like ironic and kind of funny. And it's funny because Bert bought it the day after, and he has a better story than I do about buying the book. But I've been watching your stuff so much at that point. I had kind of, obviously the book is great, and I'd known a lot of your stuff. It was mostly out of support, but yeah. And then we had that conversation with JD McCabe when he came on your channel, but it wasn't until the following week on with Aaron when we were discussing, when he was kind of like, he was pushing the book of numbers, that we had that good like 15-minute conversation. So, and then I think that night immediately I joined the community because I was like, one of the things about this breakup that made me realize, I was like, dude, I don't have anybody. Like my friends had left New York. I didn't have a tribe. I didn't have a group of men. I didn't have guys that I could talk to and confide in. I was like, dude, like, I was just like, I looked around. I was like, I got nobody. And like the community, it's still kind of crazy to me to even think about it. I was talking about this with you know, this girl last night, and I was like, it's just nuts to kind of see where I've gone from beginning to end. And I was actually talking to 50 Shades the other day, and I have people that are DMing me on Instagram, like, dude, like, what do you do for work? Like, how are you traveling all these places? What are you going and doing all this cool shit? Like, are you fucking involved in the this or that? And I'm like,
Illuminati,
no.
man.
I'm just like, I have fucking awesome friends and I do cool shit all the time. It's my life now. And it's funny because I just ran down the list of things that this community has allowed me to do and partake in that I never would have been a part of otherwise. Like, we did a meetup at a $20 million house and mansion in Miami, and I rode in an R8 in a Ferrari. We went to Nashville, and I literally sung on stage with a live rock band. I got a guy coming down to Tampa where I'm going to live, and he's like, hey, I'm taking you to a Bucks game, and we're going to go deep sea fishing, right? We're going to Jackson Hole with literal killers and doing MMA and shooting guns, and had like went to the Heroes trip in Toronto, like rode in the fucking McLaren, like stuff that I just never would have been able to do if not for this. So when guys,
be honest, the McLaren's a lot faster than the Ferrari, right?
McLaren was the shit. Don't let it be unknown. The McLaren's off. So, but
British cars.
When guys are like, "Oh, well, what do I get out of the community?" Or like, "What's it gonna do for me?" And it's like, it's almost an insult. I'm like, dude, you have no fucking idea.
Yeah,
you
it's
just have
like
no
you're
clue.
either in or you're out. Like,
yeah, you don't have a clue. And if you're not gonna put your best foot forward, you're not gonna do any of that stuff.
And this is to your point, Moff. You know, I was out with my LTR last weekend, and you know, me being me, I got chatting to people, and she stopped me and she goes, "You got a bunch of crazy buddies in DC who are, you know," she said, "they're all interesting characters." She said, "You got invited to Wyoming, you were down in Miami, you were in Nashville." She goes, "Who are you?"
Yeah.
You know, who are you? Like, how do you know all these people? How do you have all these buddies in different states and guys that are driving this or in this profession and that profession? And it's what you make out of it.
Yeah, and there's guys that are not as active, and there's guys that are not doing this kind of stuff. But I mean, we've made a very conscious effort to meet guys, and you're always telling people to push to meet in person or at least get on the phone, like get out to these meetups and stuff like that. So, you know, that's the number one thing that I tell guys, and Rich says it best. It's like, look, this is not a course. This is a community. It very much is, you know, input output. So when guys are saying like, and it's also not something that you come in for a year and leave and bounce, right? So I'm all for the guys that come into this kind of stuff and they get great results. Their business does better. They're doing better with women. They're getting in better shape, like hitting all these check marks and hitting their, you know, checking these boxes, and that's fine. But there are awesome new guys coming in every day. So why anybody would leave that when the networking potential, because it's only getting better. Like we've refined the group, I think, so much in the last even 6 months and gotten a lot more serious about the kind of guys we want in there, the things that we will tolerate, the things that we will not tolerate, and the overall direction and goals that we want for it. You know, watch out, Tates, because like War Room 2.0 is coming. So, but yeah, that's how it's been, and it's gotten so much better. So, look, I get guys that maybe think that they find things outside the group that maybe suit them better, but if nothing else, just for the networking and the access to the events that we do, it's worth its weight already.
Can we get a icon up on 50 Shades? Like something like Colin Farrell, I think might be cool. We need like a cool Irish actor that like
an avatar. Jared can do that.
Yeah. Let's figure that out. I've got guys that can do an avatar for you real quick. You can go on Fiverr and find it, but I've got guys. Let's get something cool for you.
Like what's up, Jared? How's
Lucky Charms guy?
How's
Just
El
put a
Salvador,
kitchen.
dude?
El Salvador it's going to be raining the entire time I'm here. I should have checked the forecast before I planned this 2-block little space out in my schedule. Last summer it rained during the night or like for a little bit late afternoon, but here this time it's just the whole time.
What are
And
you
then
doing
I'm a
there, by
little
the
bit
way?
late today. These assholes, I don't know which airport it was. Someone took my double-edged safety razor out of my bag, so I had to like find a improvised way to shave. Like
Oh, that sucks.
the company I have here now, let's say that, yeah, she had a razor, so fucking Gillette, whatever, trying to do it on my face.
I like
Those are
razors.
inferior products, guys. Yeah, do
Backup plan.
the actual safety razor.
What are you doing
Terrible.
in El Salvador, or you just have some talent that you're visiting?
A little bit of both. I want to get. I got to know a lot of people here last year, and they've been in the news a lot lately. So I want to try to expand that network a bit. I had a couple weeks off in between some contracts, so I'm going to be here for 2 weeks, and I'm going to take the main girl, take her down to Panama because I've posted in the group what she and I do. So she's never been with like a Colombian girl or South American girl, so we're going to go down there, and she deserves that. I shall reward her for being good to me, and then I'll be back in the States with you guys in Jackson Hole.
Oh, cool. You're coming to Jackson. Sweet.
Yep, I will be
50
there.
Shades, are you coming to Jackson? No?
Can't make
next
it.
time.
Got too
Next
much
time.
travel coming on.
I'm on mute. I land back home the day that you guys are there. I wouldn't be able to get out there until the 9th, and there's no direct flight. So I'd spend 2 days traveling to spend 2 days sitting. I would love to. I'd be on that like white on rice if I had a chance.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, well,
It is hard to get to.
Mexico.
Yeah, it's not going to be fun for anybody to travel. I mean, some of us are flying into Salt Lake and driving, which is like another 5 hours. So,
yeah.
but apparently that drive is gorgeous. So,
I was surprised it's cheaper for me to fly direct to Jackson Hole from Panama City, Panama, than it is to go to Salt Lake. Or it was like a $23 difference, and with like a 6-hour layover. I'm like, yeah, I'll just fly right in.
yeah, even flying back from Jackson to DC would have been a full 24 hours of traveling with like an overnight layover in Dallas. It was nuts. So, yeah, we're getting
one thing I've noticed, and I know this isn't really a political show, but I'm back on the dollar now. It is so expensive, everything down here. Like literally, my head is still trying to do the Mexican peso to dollar conversion. I'm like, no, we're already in dollars. Everything is twice as much as it costs in Mexico, and the people here make like no money. It is ridiculous. Like it is really hard to find protein and everything. You can find it, but everything's imported, and it's all inferior quality and super expensive.
How's the I don't know what to call it, like the Bitcoin culture over there? Because I think like El Salvador was one of the first countries to issue Bitcoin to citizens. I think they acquired and then distributed it, and they've got this Bitcoin city that they're working on. It's the only country, or one of the only countries right now, that has it as its reserve currency. Is it?
Yeah, that's what it is. I haven't really heard too much about that the couple of times I've went out since I've been here. The big thing now, they're doing like a big crime crackdown. So there's like some human rights maybe issues there, but they've cleaned up the crime. Their murder rate's gone down like 90% in the last year or something. You can walk the streets, all the graffiti's gone. They're starting to put up murals. They're starting to build new apartments and stuff. So I think the inflation's hitting them down here, but your average person only makes $300 a month. So they're probably not going to be on Bitcoin. I think that was a concern, like one of the arguments against when they were talking about doing this, like what year, I think they did it like March of last year, the Bitcoin thing, is that, yeah, that's great, but the implementation is going to take a long time, because most places you just go, it's kind of cool. They use our dollar coins, like the 10 Mexican peso coin, which the Mexican peso just issued a 20 peso coin. So this is a US dollar, but most people just use these things when they go out. Like they don't even have card technology really readily accessible unless you go to like your US chain restaurants or things like that.
So like the living environment's different than the optics portrayed on Twitter timelines for the president.
Yeah, but it's definitely getting better. There's a noticeable improvement from year over year. It's been almost exactly a year since I was here before.
Cool.
Yep.
All right. Well, it's Father's Day weekend. What are you guys up to this weekend?
Picking up a gas grill. Picking up a gas grill.
Praying I'm not one.
Yeah. Preventing fatherhood.
Yeah, I got to call my pops for sure. I have. I'm 2 hours. I'm only like 2.5 hours from home. Home. Like grew up home. So, might drive down and surprise him and go see him. I also may go see. I don't know. They may get together like with my brother-in-law and sister. My sister is now like 2 weeks shy of her third child, so they may not be doing a whole bunch of stuff, but might go down and go see him. So
cool.
I have an entire weekend of gardening planned, weeding, flower beds, all that exciting shit.
Do you grow vegetables? You grow your own vegetables? Because I know that you're a
Yeah,
culinary guy.
yeah, yeah. I planted tomatillos for the first time this year because I fucking love them things. So tomatillos, tomatoes. Yeah, Moff, you may laugh, no, but when you're around my house the next time, you're going, dude, what the hell is this? This is delicious. I'll be saying that's my fucking vegetable garden, bitch.
All I can think is you're planting a different kind of seed now that you're already a father. I'm still on me and Mom's joke.
Tomato. What did you call it? Tomatillos?
Tomatillos.
Tomatillos. It sounds like
Say it
a
like how
chili pepper.
Tomatillos. Of course, up in the frozen tundra, nothing grows, so everything's got to get imported up there to the Arctic Circle. Tomatillos, they're
Right.
they're like a green tomato, except they have a jacket around them, and their seeds. They don't have seeds in them like tomatoes, and you can make salsa instantly with them and really kick-ass green salsa. You know, salsa verde. That's where it comes from. It comes from that,
Nice.
and they're.
Okay.
I've been digging I've been digging seeing you do the prepackaged meal stuff, Rich. Like I've been on that train for years, man. So much, it's so easy. It's
Did you get them delivered, or do you do them yourself on like a
I
Sunday?
get them delivered every week. I've been doing that for years.
Yeah,
There's a local place up in New York that did it. There's a local spot in here in DC, and now they're everywhere. Like they'll ship it to you. Some places will ship it from like. There's one that I got from Texas that has everything like they'll put it on like dry ice and they'll vacuum seal it so it stays fresh, and they just pop it off and it's 2 minutes and it's good. And a lot of people will BS about, oh, microwaves are bad, microwaves are this and that. Like there's nothing really supporting that. But you can also like take it out and heat it in the oven if you want. But it just makes things so much easier. And it's like for somebody like me that likes to track everything, just saves so much time.
Yeah, I don't even own a microwave. I mean, you've been to my place, so
Yeah,
you've seen,
sure.
but I don't even own a microwave. So what I do is I just like basically rip off the cover and throw it in a cast iron skillet, heat it up for 4 minutes on high heat, and it's good to go.
Yeah.
Takes a few minutes longer, but it's really convenient. I mean, like I wish I could find like meal prep paps that were organic with higher quality food, because at $10.50 for like a turkey pack or $11 for like a steak pack, you know, it's not grass fed, you know, happy cows running around. It's probably corn fed, you know, cattle. So I'm trying to find something like that. If somebody watching knows of a place in the GTA that, you know, delivers, let me know in the comments. But yeah, it's like fats, carbs, protein. It's proportioned. It's lower calories. I'm trying not to be a fat bastard. I'm trying to burn.
It's very easy to overeat. Like a lot of guys don't understand like portion sizes and what that looks like. And so when you start doing this stuff and you see how like what 550 or 600 calories actually looks like a lot of people are shocked.
Yeah, like that plate of steak with the broccoli and potatoes purportedly is less than 400 calories.
Oh wow!
Which I don't.
Oh, you're going low.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like I don't know if that's an accurate measurement, but yeah, like that's
what are you trying to eat a day? Like how many calories are you trying to get on a day?
If I'm on my bike daily, and I can't ride right now because I fucking smashed my toe into some furniture the other day, and I'm pretty sure it's broken. It's all black and blue. It's my like two small toes. So I'm going to stay off it for about a week. I had to cancel my dojo fucking training sessions for a couple of weeks just to let it heal. But usually if I'm on my bike daily and I'm going to the gym like every other day, I'm burning about 3,500 calories.
Oh wow.
So as long as I'm pulling in about 3,000 calories, I'm in a deficit and I'm burning fat. Yep. So it's working. I track my weight and my body composition, and my muscle mass is staying the same, but my body weight's coming down, so my fat's burning.
Yep.
Rich, you have a cast iron skillet?
That's all I cook on, man.
That is one of my methods for screening out men from boys. Anybody who owns a cast iron skillet is definitely fucking alpha and can hang with me anytime. Those things are the shit. If you take care of them right, they're like girls. They're like women. If you take care of the fucking cast iron right, it will be as loyal to you as a fucking puppy dog.
Yeah, and you need honestly, I mean, you need iron in your diet, and you're going to get some out of the skillet. And it's the best way to cook steaks. You know, to be honest with you, if you got like a nice piece of meat and you want to cook it properly, I don't even do it on the barbecue anymore because all that gas shit, you know, gets in the food and all that. So I'll just like preheat to like very high temperature cast. I fucking burned my finger the other day. That it's probably not going to focus on it, but oil splashed out at like high temperature and burned a hole through my fucking finger. But yeah, that's how I usually cook now, is cast iron skillets only.
Yeah. Just before
the Dutch oven is good too.
The Dutch oven is is in the bedroom, bro. That's where you pull the blanket
Yeah,
up. Above
exactly.
and let it rip.
I knew that was
Before-
going to go there.
Dutch oven is a cast iron skillet with a cast iron lid, right?
Yeah. It's like
Yeah,
a stew
okay.
pot.
It's really good for slow cooking stuff. But just before I jumped on with you guys, like at 8:45, I threw a New York strip in a cast iron skillet. And, had it done in 8 to 10 minutes, and boom. Again, Moff.
I see Chris in the chat. Maybe we can get him to make some skillets that have like a 1% emblem or something like that, custom made.
So you get a 1% emblem grilled into your steak.
Yeah, right. That'd be sweet.
We could brand each other. We'll be in Wyoming.
Brand your steak.
Yeah, Chris, bring a brand. Maybe we can do something great.
Yeah, whenever they brand cattle, they use a cast iron brand, right? Because it's going to hold the heat. Like that's why it glows.
Yep.
Yeah, that'll get like pretty cult. Like if we get a cast iron, like 1% symbol and brand people when they come.
Yeah, I got enough people thinking I got enough people thinking I'm a fucking cult leader. I don't need any more of that.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
I'm starting to get that too. It's funny.
But listen, again, I think the most important book I read since I joined this group was The Way of Men by Jack Donovan. That's kind of what set off this whole meeting up thing. Mm-hmm. And if you know me, guys, I'm obsessed with ancient Rome and ancient history and societies. Every great successful society on this planet was built by a group of men. So when you start getting together like this, people who are still plugged in they want to knock it, they want to shit on it, and fine, you're going to go to the same thing, do the same stuff at the weekend. Meanwhile, hey Chris, where are you going? Oh, I'm going to Wyoming, to Jackson Hole, to drive around in McLarens and go shooting and do dojo stuff, while you go to Chili's and get drunk on their 2-for-1 margaritas.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's like, look, like, well, because people that are not together are easier to control. Like groups are hard to control because they draw their own perimeter, they draw a circle around their people, and they say like, okay, like we're gonna do whatever the fuck we want. You guys can like shut the fuck up. But it is very common to get hate towards that, or it's always funny. Like when guys get together, it's because there is such a now it's become weird. It's become, things that guys were doing for tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of years, like the way of the man. The way of the man is the way of the gang. And now it's, even telling friends that know about this, or even, my parents, or even strangers. And my dad calls it like the He-Man Club. And I'm just like, because they just don't get it. And it's like, or people are like, oh, like, what do you guys do? Get together and like circle jerk? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, man, we get together and like we jerk off. Yeah, that's what we do. While you're sitting at home watching Netflix next to like your fat cow girlfriend or wife, we're out like doing cool shit. But that's fine. Like continue on with that. Totally fine.
Again,
Yes. So I just want to hop on this to kind of explain the Jackson Hole trip, because we're just kind of talking amongst men, but it's live on the channel, so there's not a lot of context. So to Matt's question, we get together as a community on a regular basis. So like the last time I saw these guys was in the spring. I facilitated the Heroes Trip, which I posted a highlight reel on my channel. You can go there and check it out on the Entrepreneurs and Cars channel. But you can't have a community online and only remain online. You have to have face-to-face meetings. You have to be able to reach out and shake a man's hand. Like that's where connections are made, to break bread, to drink, to do things together. So we have in real life meetups. Generally speaking, like we have 2 tiers in our community. It's called the 1%. There's 3. So there's the 10%, which is where the starters come in. If you're making less than $100,000 a year, you're kind of new to the red pill, a younger guy, that's the starting point. Moff and Jaron take care of most of the facilitation in there. You can check that on the link below there where the community ticker's rolling. Then there's a 1%, which is the guys making more than $100,000 a year and are really, looking to season themselves and become top shelf men. But the meetups are generally attended by what I'm calling the generals now, which are like the senior sort of members. They've been around for a while. They've contributed in the forum. They've helped other of the younger, more unseasoned members out. And we get together, and it's, these sorts of environments, they're just great. Like there's nothing that I'd rather be doing with spare time than what I did on something like the Heroes Trip and what's coming up with Jackson's Hole. So you have to be a member of the community to participate in stuff like that. So that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, my goal has been, trying to do one at least quarterly or something like that. and they vary. You know, we did Miami, we did Nashville, kind of 2 party cities where there was definitely some going out. But Jackson is like, dude, it's like it's a middle of it's not middle of nowhere, but you know, there's no clubs or partying or anything like that. There's local spots and there's things to do, and we'll see what happens in the fall. But the ideas are already turning. But yeah, we talk about this a lot, where you see guys online or you see them on the forum or in Facebook groups or whatever, but it completely changes when you meet people in person. Like, you get to see them, you get to size people up, and see if they are who they really say they are, or who they really act as if they are. I think that's one of the things that I had one of the guys say to me. It's like, okay, like when I met you, you know, we had chatted online quite a bit and this and that. But he was like, okay, until I came to New York and we had like steaks and whiskey, like, okay, cool. Now I know this guy's legit. And now I know this guy can be trusted and he is exactly who he says he is. So we also are like, it's not open to anybody and everybody. Like, I had a guy that had requested to come on this Jackson trip, and everybody paid a deposit to get there. Everybody paid money, because if you're serious, like, put your money up. And this guy goes, hey, like, where do I send the deposit? And generally, relatively newer guy, hadn't participated much. And I kind of told him, I was like, look, man, like, you have got to meet some guys beforehand, or you've got to do a better job of participating. Maybe you need to have a call or two with some of the guys and network, because we're going to be doing stuff that is around guns. We're going to be fighting. You're going to be, you know, spending time in somebody's house where his credit card and his name is attached. So, we take this stuff very seriously. This is every bit of you coming to show up, but you know, we're certainly not going to tolerate like any bullshit. And you've got to prove who you are to kind of get it. And once you do, great. But routinely, the guys that come on these meetups and come on these trips are the guys that are the most active, and it really helps to serve and build community.
Yeah.
Have you gotten this? You know, when we're doing like the top 10% meetups, and you get guys like, oh, what do I get out of it? Or why would I join? Or, oh, why would I follow you? Or whatever, you know, whatever BS responses.
I wouldn't even answer those people.
No, I don't. So I don't, but where I'm going at this, I've had guys reach out like, oh, hey, how do I get into like the meetup? And then I look at the text chain, and the last question was, why the hell would I join your group? I'm like, well, who are you? Like, are you trolling me? Is this just for fun? Like, are you bored on a Saturday, or what? Where's this coming from?
And it's not just you know, for those listening, it's not like, you know, Tate 2.0. It's not guys just in supercars flexing. And you know, like, one of the guys in our group is a camping expert, a backwoods camping expert, and he's setting up a camping trip for the fall, where we got to hike in to where we're going to camp, set up camp, and we're either going to go New England, the Carolinas, or the desert Southwest. And you know, I personally would love the desert Southwest better. But another one of the members, Moff, me and Bert spoke about, if you've read Matthew McConaughey's book, Green Lights.
I have
that book, by the way.
Yeah, the monastery in the desert. That place, you can get there by vehicle, but you can also, you know, at the end of the paved road where the dirt road begins, it's a 13-mile hike into the monastery. So we said, you know, let's fucking do that. Let's just go to New Mexico and go stay at that monastery for a weekend. So, you know, we've put it on our bucket list. You know, just to reiterate, it's not all like, you know, $20 cocktails and flash cars and suits and blah, blah, blah. It's calling people out on stuff and holding people to a standard.
Jaron, turn your video up one more time real quick. Like, this is what I want to get for 50 Shades, something like that. Like a little avatar.
Oh, yeah.
That little placeholder. That's what we need to get for 50.
Yeah, I can have that same guy do one for him.
Yeah.
Like, it costs me like $5. It's whatever. I'll get it for you.
Just pull up a New York.
Holidays next.
Yeah, pull up a New York Times stereotypical Irish cartoon from the 1800s. Some guy sitting on a barrel of whiskey, you know, with a gun in his hand and a Billy Boy hat or something.
I only live my life in stereotypes, so yes, that's exactly what you will get.
But listen, you know, back to Moff's point earlier about guys tearing down the group and stuff. You know, my LTR, when I first got with her and I told her about the 1%, she stopped. I'll never forget. She stopped walking in the street and she said, "Wait a second, a group of men that want to improve each other and make each other more masculine and successful." She goes, "Women should be all over this thing. This sounds like the best thing ever," she said. Because, you know, as you know, women my age are like, they're sick of the soy boys and the, you know, the wusses out there, and the plugged in guys.
Skinny
that was-
jeans with a hair bun and an electric car. Did you guys see that meme the other day? I think Aubrey Huff posted it, if I'm not mistaken. But it was like, they got in an argument, and like the punchline was, "I'm going to leave as soon as I charge up my electric car and tie up my hair in a bun and whatever." It's just like stupid soy boy stuff.
It's the world we live in today, man.
Weak men, they're everywhere. And
to answer the question, I will no longer be debating Jenna anytime soon. Like there's plenty of chances, dude. I still get text messages about that. Somebody fucking text me
He's like, girls ask me about that. Like, when is Moff going back on the Jenna?
Like, where do I send like the wedding flowers or whatever, like the arrangement? Congrats to you and Jenna. I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude. Like,
there's really no point in debating women on topics like that. Like, it makes for a good video or a clip on YouTube, but they just can't see past their own noses, man. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just how they're wired. Love them for it, whatever.
Well, people were giving me a whole bunch of grief in the comments about, oh, look how like hurt or triggered he is, and he needs to not roll his eyes. And it's like, dude, I spent 3 or 4 hours talking to this woman on stereo. Like, forgive me for not wanting to tolerate any more of her nonsense. And when she comes up and says, like, well, I'm not here to argue, and then proceeds to argue. Like,
she's apparently talking to Chris Amy now too.
Oh my God! She approached you in person? No, not Dally in person.
No, it would have been in person. It would have been online somewhere.
We can show you what she looks like. We can share that. That's fine.
Yeah, I don't know what she looks like either. It's hard for me to talk to someone for an extended period of time when I don't know who's behind the screen, because it really removes a layer of communication that you'd have face to face.
Yeah, like I've seen the women that you guys deal with. She's not even close to that caliber.
She got really mad when I said she was too old for me. So,
Moff, I'm still going to hook you up with a 40-year-old before the end of the year.
Why?
Yeah, pet project. Why do I work in my vegetable garden? Why do I want to hook Moff up with a 40-year-old? Same thing.
No, you want to try to get me hooked on old broads so you can have all the young ones for yourself. That's all it is.
After that whole Jenna debate or discussion, it is funny. I understand why that stuff's so popular, because girls that I date, when we go on the Monday night show, I typically have a girl laying next to me on the bed, and I'll put it on my chest, the cell phone on my chest on speakerphone. And a couple of girls have asked, like, hey, Moff and Jenna, like the girls got excited about it. I'm like, God, for me, it was really hard to listen to. And I enjoy your stuff. When you go on solo, I still listen to you. You do good stuff.
Well, here's the thing. Like, there's usually two schools of people that will DM me, because people listen to me on stereo and they listen to me here and they this and that. Like, usually people ask me, there's usually like, why do you put up with this? Like, why do you do this? Why do you have conversations with people that attack you and call you names and misrepresent your arguments and this and that? And there are people that are like, hey, I appreciate that you do it. And I talked to a guy yesterday. He's like, dude, like when you stand your ground and I listen to you and watch you, I don't know if he said it's inspiring, but he's like, it gets people to think. And if you don't sit there and tolerate BS and you just don't back down, it could be a whole room of people. And dude, I'm telling you, I've been on shows and done stuff on that app where people are saying the craziest shit to me. Like, people in the comments, people on the stage, everyone is against me. And I'm just like, I'm not gonna do this. Like, you're not gonna get me to be ashamed of what I think. You're not gonna get me to back down. You're not gonna get me to admit that I'm wrong, because I'm not. And sometimes I'll get people that are like, hey, like, I could never go up there and do what you did. I appreciate you doing it because it makes me think twice. And sometimes when I have those arguments or those shows, I'll get 7, 8, 10, 12, 15 new followers for people that are listening, because that's why I do it. I'm not trying to change anybody's mind on the show or on the panel. I'm just like, hey, if you're listening, maybe you'll hear something that you like and maybe that you agree with, and maybe you'll wake up, or there's somebody that is on the verge of screwing their life up and they need to unplug. And that was the spark that got them to the other side. What's really crazy is that for a really long time, I was deathly afraid of sharing anything online, anything like mixing my Mano Swamp persona or the Red Pill or whatever it is. This side of in the content and stuff that I'm involved with or that I enjoy with sort of the mainstream part of my world with family, friends, job, etc. And one day I just said, screw it. Like, I don't care. Like, let the chips fall where they may. I started posting more stuff on Instagram about it. I started posting about 1% stuff. I have my own personal website linked literally in my bio that anybody can click on. I'm very easy to find. Like, there's no hiding anything. And so for the first time since, I actually had an old buddy of mine that I always really liked at a previous job who DM'd me, and he's like, hey man, like I finally decided to check out some of the stuff you're talking about. And it's like the light bulb just went off in my brain. He bought the book. He followed me on Stereo. He's starting to follow on some of the podcast. I'm trying to introduce him to some guys out in Chicago that we've got. So that's what matters, man. Like I don't care if 1 million people hate me. If one guy that, I can save one guy or one friend that was going to do something stupid after a breakup, like it's all worth it.
Yeah.
Mark.
You're always going to be criticized for, not coloring within the lines, for thinking outside of the box, for not even seeing the box. And I mean, 99% of guys out there are plugged into comforting lies that don't serve them. That, that's why they get pissed off at you when you hop onto somebody else's show on Stereo. I mean, for the most part, when guys are watching my stuff, they're already kind of like mostly aligned with it, partially aligned with it. Some people are kind of very new to it, but it's mostly aligned. So when you hop into somebody else's show, it's like they get really mad. Like I did this. I got a email from a guy that runs an investing channel. It was pretty large. Had about 250,000 subs, and I hopped on to talk to him about. He wanted to talk about alpha investing, like how do alphas invest. He read my book. He's been watching my channels. Has a loyal audience. They watch his stuff, and he sends me the link, for the video, and I send it over to Velco to do some clip edits out of it. And I had a look at what I'm telling you guys not to do, which is reading the comments, of course. And I look at the comments on this guy's video, and of course, there's like a handful of women that are like, "I hate you. This guy's a misogynist. I'm going to unsubscribe." And it's like, all I said, when he asks, something like, "How does a guy that's trying to invest, that's potentially being questioned by his partner or his wife about investing in a marketplace like this, handle that?" And I'm like, "Well, you got to lead. You have to make sure she's in your frame. Just standard, like." Yeah. Tip of the iceberg stuff, like not even below the waterline shit, because you can't operate below the waterline when you're on somebody else's channel that has mostly like plugged in viewers sort of thing. And all these broads are all pissed off, because you say shit like that. It's like it's never ending, dude. Like you're always going to get it. And the fact of the matter is somewhere, somehow, deep within their psyche, deep within like their DNA.
Yep.
They actually agree with what you're saying, and they're generally turned on by you.
They can't reconcile it.
Yeah.
It's funny things like that, Rich, when you tell those stories. In my head, just the thought of a woman that I'm dating advising me on investment strategies, it doesn't even compute. That doesn't even come up. The girls I date, they wouldn't even bring that up. They would find that so absurd if I mentioned that they could bring it up. They'd be like, "What are you doing?" So it's really hard. Again, I'll probably safely say that I'm unplugged. Like I'm outside of the matrix of the U.S. kind of mainstream culture, literally, physically too. So when I hear things like that, my brain is just like, it's like when Paris Hilton tries to put two thoughts together and her eyes cross. It's kind of like, whoa, like what? Who would do that? It's the craziest thing. But and to be honest, most women I know and I date, and they will admit this themselves. This is where I get this idea. They don't manage their finances that well. Most of them are in crazy debt. They don't
know how to invest, dude.
They have credit card debt. Yeah,
I try constantly.
Investing is the last thing.
Dude, I try constantly when cryptocurrency's down, tell my chick, buy Bitcoin. Did you buy some Bitcoin? It's like, no, it's like fucking in one ear and out the other. Like maybe like a third of the time, it computes and it makes sense. But it's like other things are way more important.
I'll buy a handbag that it's like it'll devalue immediately, or shoes,
or get up your social media likes, or something that's not particularly relevant or useful. It is what it is.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing. It just is. Yeah, that's just what we're kind of, I said on my channel all the time, like, I'm just being intellectually honest. Rich, I've heard you say this too. Young guys ask me, like, what's a good job if you need some extra scratch? Actually, and I never have an answer, but now it occurred to me, like, I used to umpire baseball from the age like 12 to 22. You make really good money doing that. Yeah, you do.
Roughing soccer.
Like 20 years ago, I was making like $50 a game, and they always last an hour and a half to 2 hours, but you do like 3 or 4 or 5 games in a day. Like you can make some good money, but I learned from doing that. Like you call what you see. Like I remember like some bad calls I made before. I'm like, hey, from this angle, that's all. I didn't see it. And my third base ump had his hand, had his head up his ass, or is fucking looking at butterflies in the sky. Yeah. So I call what I see. And I think that kind of stuck with me. I do that on my channel too. I'm like, hey, I just walk through life and make observations, and I find them funny, and I share them with you guys. That's kind of what I do. And Rich, that's what you do too, which is why I gravitated towards you. And there's that whole rift.
I often say I just hold up a mirror and I just reflect back some facts. And if you don't like it, you don't like it. I don't care. I mean, it's just a mirror. It just shows you some things. That's all.
Yeah.
My thing, Like, don't waste my time. Like, for shit, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's just, again, everything with me goes back to, the ancient Stoic philosophers, and one of their quotes: "It's easier to criticize the decisions of others than live with your own decisions."
Yep.
Yeah,
And a lot of people love that stuff. And let's do result orientation. I used to work in performance measurement, which was you measure the performance of your system. So, and I spoke with the Chad Emperor, who's a member of our group, and me and him said dating from our lens and our perspective is a million times better than dating from being plugged in. It's just a different fucking ball game completely. And again, it's just results oriented.
There's a lot of guys that really struggle with that, though, right? I mean, they'll start to call you black pill, or they don't think that it fully serves you. But it's just part of the unplugging process. I mean, you're always going to waver back and forth and be like, well, this is bad, or like I agree with what you're saying, but I don't agree with this element of it, sort of thing. And it's like you just can't fight facts.
Well,
They'll start making excuses. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I had a buddy from, I guess he's a buddy. I mean, still talk to him. Like that guy that was like my closest friend in college, and like we, shit happens. He moves across the whatever, and he wanted to start a podcast, and he started interviewing people, and he was interviewing people that I knew and friends from his hometown. And what was kind of funny, it's like the people that he was interviewing were just, a lot of them were just boring. Like they were doing very, very average things. I'm like, what do you? And so I'm like, hey man, look, like I know people that do this. I can introduce you to XYZ, ABC, like guys that have this stuff off the ground. I have a close friend who's got 500,000 subscribers on YouTube. I got Jaron who runs his own channel. I have 1,500 followers on Stereo. Like, and he's like, okay, yeah, then I'll let you know, man. I'm just like, okay. But he actually invited me on his podcast, and he was like, what do you want to talk about? And I was like, what do you think? Like intersexual dynamics, like obviously. And we scheduled a show for a couple months out, and the day of it, he goes like, hey, just so you know, like I messed up. I didn't do any research on this. And I was like, that's cool. Like I can riff. No problem. I do it all the time.
Yep.
And we did a 90-minute podcast, and I could tell like, I mean, dude, we ran the gamut, everything from like Red Pill, Hypergamy, The Way of Men, Jack Donovan, I Don't Care, The Community, The 1%, Rich Cooper, like all this kind of stuff. We covered a whole lot in 90 minutes. And I could tell there were some points where he was like, what about this? What about that? And that's fine. And I'm cool with engaging in dialogue. But a couple weeks go by and nothing. And he's like, hey, dude, I went back. I tried to edit it. I just can't get past a couple of these things. I'm not going to post it.
Really?
And then my favorite part was this, where he goes, I don't want to have something that was said come back and like hurt us later down the line. I'm like, you don't have to try to save me, dude. Like I stand behind
a chick using we statements.
That's what I mean. I'm like, look, you don't have to try to save me, dude. Like you could just say like you don't feel comfortable and you don't want to post it, but
what
was
it that ruffled his tampon so badly?
I think it was everything. I think I just came in and I was just like, he had never heard me talk about this kind of stuff before, and I think he's just a plugged in kind of guy. Like I don't think he's a beta by any means, but he's just plugged in. And it was uncomfortable. It was hearing the uncomfortable truth, and so he was just like, yeah, I'm not going to post it. And I was like, okay, man, no hard feelings, but I'm never going to work with them in that capacity again. Like you're going to waste my time. Like I don't care that you didn't post our conversation to your 7 podcast followers, but you don't respect like my time. You also didn't do any research. If you had done 5 minutes of digging around, like maybe you probably would have just said, we're not going to talk about it at all, which would have been much better than wasting an hour and a half of my time. So, but yeah, I was like, look, I don't need you to save me. I don't need you to, I stand behind everything that I say all the time. I show my face. My name is in my Instagram handle. Like I'm easy to find. Like it's not a secret.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I say in response to guys like that, which was before you started, I was going to say this point, but it's relevant. I've noticed that a lot of times, like when I do stuff too, people come out like some people call bullshit. Most people actually genuinely want to continue the topic. They'll DM you, ask like follow-up questions, and hey, how do you look at it from this angle? Or I'm in this situation. Most people are actually genuine. But as I start to grow, I'm getting a lot of idiots that reach out. And for me, I try to be intellectually honest at all times. And I've noticed that this space lacks that a lot. And especially like your friend, he's not necessarily blue pill or plugged in, as you say. He may be kind of like purple pill or on the fence. But for me, it's really hard in my head to justify continuing conversing with people like that who just can't put facts on the table and then dispute them, debate them, chew them up, spit them out, put them in a new way. And for me, that's I'm never the guy that bangs my chest like, oh, I'm alpha uber Alice or anything like that. But it's hard for me to have an actual conversation with someone who's not honest intellectually, because it just doesn't go anywhere. Kind of like you and Moff and the Jenna thing. But guys like that drive me nuts. And I notice that in my day-to-day life, I'm starting to have less and less patience for those types of people, like where I have to talk to you like you're a 3-year-old. It's really annoying, and I just don't want to do it. And the thing is, a lot of guys ask me like, oh, what's your game technique, your strategy with girls? I'm like, I'm just myself. Like the bad advice your mom gave you, just be yourself. But I am unabashedly myself. This is what I think about this. No emotion, just deadpan expression. And the girl's like, really? I'm like, yeah. That's it. There's no discussion. There's no follow-up. That's how it is.
Yeah, the strategy is becoming the game. It's not like, how do you game,
Yep.
How do you apply game to dating? It's like, no, motherfucker, I am the game now. Like, do you understand? Like, it is infused within me. Do I have to catch myself sometimes? Yeah, I do have to catch myself sometimes. Yep. Sometimes I have to reread a text before I send it to my chick, sort of thing, right? But for the most part, you become the game, when you understand this. So there's no like, well, what lyrics do I have to remember and regurgitate? It's like, no, that's pickup artistry. Like that's that other crap that, people sell you courses on.
Yeah, I still script. The other night I had a girl over. Like again, the way I pre-screen them, and you guys, you can follow my channel to see like kind of my system, how I do this. So it's all inbound. By the time they get to me and I actually respond to them, they're ready to go. They know what the deal is. So I had a girl come over the other night, started talking a little bit, and had a good, fun, lively conversation. At one point, I went to, because I talk a lot with my hands, so I went to do something to express myself in some stupid story I was telling. And the girl kind of leaned in, and then I kept going on my narrative. And then all of a sudden in my head, I'm like, oh, she was ready for you to make a move right there. I'm like, all right. So finished it up, waited like a minute or two. But then I understood that tension, and I kind of let it grow a bit. And then I made the move. And she, obviously the night was going to end how it was going to end regardless, because I had set it up on the front end. But still little things like that happen. I'm like, oh, like a very, very subtle micro expression where in my head, usually it's intuitively just, oh yeah, time to kiss her. But I was in the middle of kind of like I'm talking now, doing what I'm doing. I'm like, oh shit, and just a little trigger in the back of my head, like, that was your chance to kiss her. I'm like, whatever, I'll have another one. And I realized in myself, once I get to that point, like even when I miss opportunities and I know I'm still gonna get the prize, then that's where I'm like, all right, I think I'm getting this down. Like I don't even really care that I missed my opening. I can have it whenever I want it.
100%. 50, you're about to say something?
Yeah, I was, I sent you, I sent you the screenshot the other day of never be boring, and that's one of the things that I learned since joining up here is just kind of leaning into who you are and being more and more who you are, because as the guys will say, they're both Mark and Chris have said, some guys they'll argue with you, they'll argue why what they're doing without getting any results is way better than what you're doing while you're getting results.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to unplug. And you've said a million times, Rich, you can do anything to a girl but never bore her. And when I see my girl and her jaw's on the ground because I know this person, because I ran into the chief of police who invited me by to use the chief of police fucking shooting range in the local township, she's like, who the fuck do you know? Again, it's just never be boring.
Yeah,
well,
that's one of the 7 pillars. In fact, pillar number 7 is captivation, which is essentially don't be boring.
It's a lot of, which is very, very hard to fake. You have a lot of guys that will say fake it till you make it, this, that. I mean, one of the most powerful things that a guy can do to be captivating is tell a good story, but it doesn't matter how good of a storyteller you are if you don't actually have stories. And where do you get stories? From experiences. So, I always urge guys to get out there and live life and do things. And that's part of what being in the community has done. Like I've had experiences that I never would have had otherwise. And even to that point of, the hater thing, and we know it always comes from like beneath. Like these guys always tell on themselves. I had a guy that I heard was doing this about me, and I just did a little bit of background on him, and I found out what he does for work, and he's a gay porn editor. And I'm like, this guy literally gets paid to watch dudes fuck, and he's saying that I'm a loser. Like, okay, man, we can go ahead.
Is it good pay at least?
How did you find that out?
I mean, just I got my ways and I have my sources. I can't reveal them all, but
Yeah, we have our fixers and people.
if you're in the 1%, if you need some background on a guy, and it's like, hey, man, this guy's running mouth about this and that, like, I can tell you where his dad's house is. And
yeah, what's that old line like? Your criticism means nothing to me. I've seen what you praise, sort
exactly.
of thing.
Like, your criticism means zero. I've seen what you make you cheer, right?
Yeah, it's like, almost all of your critics in life. You take a look at their life. It's just a matter of asking yourself the question, like, would I trade places with this person? It's like when somebody makes a stupid comment about like my McLaren, it's like, what do you drive, bro? A fucking Prius? Shut up.
Yeah. And look, that's part of having a tribe and having a group of guys. Like, look, there are guys that I will take their criticism to heart. I will take them seriously. And maybe they have something to offer me that I haven't thought about or something that I haven't considered. And that's what you need. Like, you need to have guys as trusted advisors. And there's certain guys that have gotten into that circle where I will pick up the phone either as soon as I see it or the minute I have 60 seconds of free time, I'll call him back. Like 50 Shades is in that category. Rich is in that category. Jaron, there's a handful of other guys. And that's reserved for a very small number of people because I know that these guys are not calling me about BS. When we talk, it's about planning things. It's not just like, hey man, like, what's up? It's like, well, what is this? Like,
I hate that.
Like, what are you doing? I have very little time to waste with people. So I respect guys that respect my time and vice versa. And so, that goes back to also adding value. When guys say, like, how do I add value is probably the number one question I get for guys that are looking to, whether it's joining the 10%, joining the 1%, how do I add value? And I kind of use my own story. What I had to offer, like, look, I don't drive a McLaren. I don't make $1 million. I don't have, a lot of stuff that these other guys have as far as entrepreneurship experience, business experience. But I dove headfirst into the dating game and I was just doing it. And I was sharing field reports. I was sharing text messages. I was like, this is what she said. This is what happened. And that started to be like my contributions. And I sort of carved out my own niche. But, and then there were other things I got better at and just fixing my mindset and learning. And then I was able to add value from there. So, it's hard to add value if you haven't done anything. It's hard to add value if nobody can take you seriously because it's like, where's your body of work? What have you done? What are your stories? What do you got? Like, and if you don't have any of that, then that should be your first priority. Like, go get some shit done and then report back.
Yeah, hate always comes from beneath you, always, 100% of the time.
When you're talking about just adding value to the group and having your stories and stuff like that, and again, benefits you will reap from this group. We were when we were in Nashville and we were all telling our stories, and me, I was like bippity bop, yeah, I don't have any problems, yada yada yada, everything's great, everything's always fine. And Ryan pointed something out when we got on one of these generals chats before we went live, and he said, that's not true. Everybody has something back when. And I did, and I went to the root of it, and I found out there was this 2 or 3 year period in college that really wrecked me, absolutely destroyed me. And I was like, damn, if Ryan hadn't stood up and argued with me and said, no, everything's not perfect, you haven't had like an easy, happy-go-lucky life, something went sideways somewhere. And I was like, damn, he pinpointed that like a fucking laser.
You can't be a high value virtuous guy without chaos in your life. Like you have to lose to win. The only reason why you win is because you keep getting up from losing and, getting back to work and digging in and trying to make shit happen. It's just part of life, man.
Well, it's the reason a lot of guys find and get unplugged. Like we always say, it's always like a pain in the ass when people say like, oh, you were hurt and that's why you think this way.
Yeah, I was.
Like, yes and no. But it's not the result.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
I haven't turned hurt into anger and animosity.
Yeah.
I realized what I was doing wasn't working. And then I went to go look for answers. It wasn't like I'm hurt, so all women suck, I hate women. It's what I'm doing is not getting me the results that I want. It's not getting me the results that I was told that I would be getting. Where's the disconnect and what am I missing? And guys go and find answers and they find stuff like this. They go and find YouTube. They go and find books. There's a ton of stuff out there. And look, like not everybody gets to hear. A lot of guys won't do it. And a lot of guys take Some guys take a very long time to unplug. Some guys never fully unplug. They get stuck in the anger phase. And that's why like all this nonsense about the red pill community is all bullshit, because it's like saying, like, the best way I ever heard this described is like the red pill is like fire. You can cook with it, you can heat your house with it, or you can burn it the fuck down. But there's not a fire community. It's a tool. That's all it is.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. I got to wrap up, guys, because I got to hit the road. I'm doing a little fam jam with my family and brothers and stuff. So, quickly mention where guys can find your stuff. You know, for Moff and Jaron, because we're keeping 50 anon. He's our community fixer.
Instagram right here, best place to find me, where I'm most active. I've got a sort of a link in my bio where if you're looking for more info, recommended reading list, if you want to do like one-on-ones with me, stuff like that is right there. Find me on the Stereo app as well, stereo.com/Moff, MOFF, where Jared and I do weekly shows, and I do some other stuff on my own. So if you're looking for me outside of the YouTubes where I'm a little more active, Instagram and Stereo is the best place.
Yep, same thing for me. Best place to go is Instagram. I use that as my like go-to messenger. Jaren Scott, JarenScott for any audio only people. I think I got in the habit of saying that on my channel. I realize it's a live cast. For that same thing, one-on-one coaching. If you have like any YouTube topic requests, I do have a channel too. Go to your search bar, type in Men Shrine, subscribe. Could definitely help. Get any help getting the boost going on that. And then also you can sign up for the top 10% community. Again, as Rich mentioned, that's guys like under about 100K a year income, just starting to get your feet wet in this stuff. Myself, Rich, or Moff, any one of us can let you in there. And then in general too, guys that are on the fence about that, kind of what we were just talking about tying up here at the end, really get outside of your comfort zone. Get outside of your little bubbles. We're not in high school cliques anymore. We're not in middle school cliques. Get out there and start experiencing the world. I had a girl the other day asked me, she's like, I can't put my finger on why I like you so much, why you're so interesting, or why like other guys don't make me feel the way you do. I was like, well, I'm intellectually curious and I take action. So I want to know how something works. I literally leave the house. I go out there, I get on an airplane, I go to dangerous places, I go to fucked up places. And then I just share my experiences. And I think that's a big first step you can take as a guy to start getting yourself out there and start figuring out how you really act and react in certain situations, and it starts to shape your personality to become a much more dynamic person. So again, top 10% group, top 1%, the entrepreneurs group. You can get any of those from Rich, Moff, or myself.
Hey, Rich, you got a chainmail cleaner for that cast iron skillet? That's just my request.
Chainmail cleaner?
Yeah, to clean the cast iron skillet. There's a thing on Amazon. It's chainmail for cleaning it.
No, I've not used one. Can you send me something?
Yeah, I'll send you a link. You'll be praising me to the high heavens as usual.
I'll check it out. And for those of you guys in the live chat that were asking about the community, it's in the ticker below, guys. And I'll also pin it in the top comment when we get off the live, so you can find it there too. So you can go check it out. And if you want to hop in, hop in. If you don't, I hope you enjoy watching the lives. We'll see you guys soon. We're going to do these Saturdays, 9 a.m. We're going to talk offline about maybe scheduling or putting some of it on Jaron or Moff's platforms, because I probably won't be able to do every single one. But yeah, it'll just be like guys like us hanging out, chopping it up about stuff that matters to dudes. So have an awesome weekend. We'll see you guys later.
Happy Father's Day.